So, let me introduce myself. Hi, guys, I'm Daddy Freeze, convener of the Free the Sheeple movement and leader of the Free Nation in Christ. I greet you and I bring glad tidings. Today, I want to talk about COVID-19 and many of the issues I noticed as I drove around today. So if you're in Nigeria, this might help you. And if you're outside Nigeria too, this might help you, especially since you could always call your people back home and give them advice with regards to how things are done. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on any other media, it's youtube.com/ Daddy Freeze Teaches. Or just search for Daddy Freeze, DADDYFREEZE on YouTube, and I'm right there. I've got gifts for people. That's right, it's a special Mother's Day SendWave gift. With SendWave, you could send money from your phones abroad in the UK, in Europe, and in the US to Nigeria. Very easy, directly to any Nigerian bank account. Now, if you use the code FRZ, you get £5, €5, or $5 back as a gift. That's if you use FRZ. And the rates are amazing. It's really safe and all that. So download SendWave now. It takes 30 seconds to register, and you're on your way to sending money home from wherever you are. Once again, it's SendWave, SendWave, send money home. So, special Mother's Day bonanza. Now, let's start with a COVID-19 talk. I noticed something today as I was driving around with the kids in the car. First of all, we have to address this beggar in Nigeria issue. I'm sure if you're in any other country in the world, you don't have the beggar issue. Beggars wouldn't just come and touch you. They wouldn't come and touch your car. They wouldn't come and do all those things. But in Nigeria, beggars would put their faces on their car. This is a very, very precarious period. The world, as you know it, might never be the same again. Meaning we might not go back to the world the way it used to be. Things are going to be different. And I want us to talk about this. I want us to talk about the fact that we're not addressing the beggars in traffic issue. The government needs to wake up to this responsibility. This is not the time to play the emotional card. This is not the time to play, oh, they're poor, you're punishing them. Would you rather be dead? Would you rather they be dead and poor? Or poor and dead? We've got to address this. No one has the right in this time frame to touch you. No one should touch you. Stay away from people who touch you, people who are strangers, people who you don't live with. This is not how the world is managing the crisis. We're just playing with fire. Secondly, let's stop the panic buying. I beg you. It's hard for me to tell people not to panic buy when everybody else is panic buying. At the end of the day, the people now say, Daddy Freeze, because of you, we don't have anything in our houses. Let's be reasoning people, not unthinking animals. Let's think straight. So please, no panic buying. Buy what you need. Stock your houses if you want. So many people. Thirdly, I must eat groundnuts. I personally have stopped eating groundnuts this season. You know why? Because after roasting the groundnuts, they rub them together to remove the skins, and then they do this. You don't want to eat groundnuts somebody has blown on. Oh. Forget all this, the sun will kill it, the sun will kill it, please. I personally am quitting groundnuts for this period. Now, if you're getting your groundnuts from some industrial place where proper sanitary conditions are met, all well and good. If not, I personally am staying off groundnuts. Now, the big cathedrals. I must applaud the Muslims. The Muslims have tried. They've shut down Ghana. Today I was on one of my friends' pages, said the mosque was shut down. I don't know how you guys cannot see that they're trying. I don't know that if they will say that the priest is Muslim. I'm not a Muslim. I just cannot see right and say it is wrong. I cannot see black and call it white. One or two people are messianing, but generally, they were the first to cut down services. Our people, on the other hand, must collect this tithe. Àwọn Kenneth Copeland, àwọn aláìní tìjú, oníjẹkújẹ. You are telling people that have lost their jobs to come and pay tithe. And you are telling that the free is not to insult. How do you want to miss that course? I'm not even going to insult you. I'm not going to curse you. But I want to ask you, and I'm going to read the scriptures to you because I'm a scripture teacher. I didn't even want to talk about scriptures today. I just wanted to talk about COVID-19. But how am I not going to read the scriptures? Go with me to Matthew chapter 14. Sorry, Matthew chapter 23. I'm not happy. If you're with me at Matthew 23, let's discuss this together. Matthew 23, verse 4. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. How can you tell someone who has lost his job that they must still tithe? How do you do that? Where in hell do you get that confidence? And you tell them their job is not their source, Jesus is their source? Really? The government in the UK, the US, and in the UAE have earmarked money to take care of their children. What has the church done? I'm asking you, in this time of need. Listen. Oh. Go with me to the book of Malachi, chapter 3. Go with me. I have their time today. Malachi chapter 3. If you're there, let me know. Heavenly Father, I ask for your wisdom upon me today and upon this generation. I ask that we be set free from the traps of the devil. I ask for us to be freed from religious loads that are crushing us and religious leaders who lift no finger to help us in our time of pain. I ask for your love and mercy to cure and purge this land of evil. In Yahushua's name I pray. Go with me to the book of Malachi chapter 3. I'm reading from 8. Maybe I should read the NIV. NIV sounds more like what you're used to. Will a mere mortal rob God? Yet you rob me. But you ask, how are we robbing God? In tithe and offering. You are under a curse, your whole nation, because you are robbing me. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Bring the tithe to the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in God's house. I want to ask you a question. Does God eat? Why does God need to have food in his house? Why does God need to have food in his house? If we go according to old law, why? And I want to take you to the book of Genesis to explain why. Keyword. I'll take that again. Malachi 3:10, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in my house. Bring the tithe to the storehouse. Now go with me to the book of Bible, to the book of Genesis. I beg your pardon. Genesis 41, and I'm reading from 37. So, sorry, from 33. Genesis 41:33. Therefore, Pharaoh should find an intelligent and wise man and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5 of all the crops during the good years. Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses. Store it away and guard it so that there will be food in the cities. That way, there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine comes to the land of Egypt. Otherwise, this famine will destroy the land. Why are you bringing the food to the storehouse? Why does God need to have food in his storehouse so that when the famine comes, Pharaoh was told by Joseph to put 20% away during the 7 years of plenty so that the people would have what to eat when there was famine. The storehouse in Malachi 3, if you go with that, is not for God to eat. God is not hungry. Y'all serve a hungry, broke, homeless God. So you're always building houses for this God. You're always giving money to this broke God who doesn't know how to manage resources. You're always looking for food for this God. That's not my God. That's not the Lord of heaven's armies. That's not the God of Israel. And that's not Yahweh. That's Mammon. That's whatever God you guys built in your own images. This little calf that you have built and you're rejoicing over it. That's not the God of heaven's armies, the Lord of heaven's armies. The Lord of heaven's armies is not hungry. And if we've been bringing money in tithe and offering to the storehouse, I think the storehouse needs to be open now because this is a year of famine. Look around you. Do you need to ask yourselves? The markets are shutting down. We have a problem selling our resources. People are losing their jobs globally. People are dying. People are under more or less house arrest, self-imposed house arrest. Is this not the time for the storehouses to be opened and for the meat in the storehouses to be given to the people so they may not die during the famine? But your teachers are thieves. So they're not going to open up the storehouses. Instead, they're going to ask you to bring more to the storehouses. Even if you lose your job is not your source. Yes, your job's not supposed to be your source, because if you lose your job, you're supposed to go to the storehouse, and the storehouse is supposed to take care of you. You're not supposed to give in a time of famine. You're supposed to eat. Read Genesis 41. During the time of famine, nobody brought nothing to the storehouse. What they did was they took things out of the storehouse. Look at someone beside you and tell them, first of all, the church is not a storehouse. Second of all, if it ever was, this is the time to open the storehouse and bring the meat out. If there's anybody who understands what I'm saying, I think y'all need to wake up to this. This is when people need to turn to the church. It's not when the church needs to fleece. This is the time the church needs to get up. I'll take you a little bit further. Let's go back to the book of Malachi. I want to read 11. He says, this is God speaking, I will prevent pests from devouring your crops, and the vines in your field will not drop their fruit before it's ripe, says the Lord Almighty. Then all nations will call you blessed, for yours will be a delightful land, says the Lord Almighty. Oh, yes, if poverty is a blessing, we are blessed. We are the poverty capital of the world. Which nation calls us blessed? I'm looking for that nation. Can you kindly introduce me to the nation? We've got 10 churches on every street, and I don't know who calls us blessed. We don't even call ourselves blessed unless we're under a curse and we don't know what a blessing is. Only then would we see this and call it a blessing. They fooled you long enough. In fact, they fooled us long enough. It's just that I woke up a while before you guys. We're supposed to be protected with a number of tithers in Nigeria. Yet the healing houses, oh yes, the deliverance houses, the ones you built, 100,000 seater, 120,000 seater, 50,000 seater, 150,000 seater, they're all closed. Do you know why they're closed? Because they can't heal you. If they could, they'll be opened. Luth is opened. UCH is opened. General Hospital is open. Yet your healing deliverance houses are closed. If the government believed in the healing powers of your healing houses, they would have kept them open. Muslims don't call that mosque a healing house. They call it a house of prayer. It's not a house of deliverance, it's a house of prayer. It's time we started making our churches houses of prayer, not dens of thieves where people lie to you and bring women who have issues with their hands and make it look like they cured them. We've got corona now. Wake up and go cure corona, cure COVID. Churches are closed, but the hospitals are open. Do you know why? Because medical science is one of the greatest miracles God has ever performed over mankind. Let's go to Google. Put it there. How many people were healed by Christ in the Bible? Put it there. How many? Let's start. Let's ask. We're working. He raised 3 people from the dead. The Bible doesn't state exactly how many, but we can't put the number to 1,000,000, can we? We can't put the number to 1,000,000. Because even when he fed 5,000. Not counting the women and children, let's say he fed 100,000. How many people did he heal in total? Let's say 1,000,000. Now let me ask you a question. Put to Google and type how many people has smallpox killed. In the early 1950s, it is estimated that 50 million cases of smallpox occurred in the world each year. 50 million smallpox cases a year in the 1950s. Today, smallpox has been totally eradicated. Absolutely. There's not one more case of smallpox globally. It was eradicated by medical science, not by preachers, not by tithing, not by seeding, not by praying, not by fasting. It was eradicated by thinking, education, learning. Oh, yes, God created everything, including our ability to learn. He has given you your ability to learn. Why are you still praying for it? I have a fridge in front of me. I have a drink in my fridge. Am I going to pray to God to get me the drink? Or am I going to get up and go and get the drink that's already in my fridge? You refuse to think. I'll take you even further. Malaria. Let's ask. Smallpox globally killed between 300 and 500 million people globally until it was eradicated by medicine, medical science. There's no case of smallpox again in the world. It's extinct. Yet, as black people, we have the shrine in Ibadan. It's called Shopono. We worship smallpox as a god. Sense we will not get. Let's talk about malaria. How many, just type this with me, work with me. People does malaria kill each year? Just put that. Google. Let's come up with the figures. Over 1 million people die from malaria each year, mostly children under 5. 90% of malaria cases occur in sub-Saharan Africa. This is according to www.unicef.org. UNICEF statistics. 1 million people die from malaria each year. I want to read something to you. I want to introduce you to a lady called Tu Yu, spelled Tuuu, a Chinese woman. She discovered artemisinin. She saved millions of lives in China, Asia, Africa, and South America. In 2011, Tu received the Lasker Award in Clinical Medicine, and in 2015, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, jointly with William C. Campbell and Satoshi Omura. Tu is the first Chinese Nobel laureate in Physiology or Medicine, and the first female citizen of the People's Republic of China to receive a Nobel Prize in any category. She is also the first Chinese person to receive the Lasker Award. Tu Yu was born, educated, and carried out her research exclusively in China. Tu Yu discovered the breakthrough medical treatment for malaria. A Chinese woman Malaria that's killing us in Africa. You are praying. You're going to those shrines that you call healing houses and homes of deliverance, and you're wasting your time when a Chinese woman is getting a Nobel Peace Prize for what is disturbing you. Someone said marriage is an achievement. Shut up! Marriage is not an achievement. To you is an achievement. The first woman in China to bring home a Nobel Peace Prize. The first woman in China to bring home a Lasker Award. The person who is saving that the reason why the number of people dying globally every year from malaria is reducing is because of 2UU. All those combination treatment for malaria. Where do you think it came from? 2UU. That's an achievement, not marrying. Make man climb you, make you born pikin. If you think that's an achievement in 2020, you be dingbat. Collect them from me. Now only me they tell you truth. One of my aunties looked at my kids the other day and said, I can't wait for you to marry. I said, it's what your generation did to us. We can't wait for. I want to see these children win Nobel Prize. If they want to marry, that's their business. I'm not going to put them under any age restriction or they must be. No, sir. That's not going to work. Go and win me Nobel Peace Prize and add the value to humanity. Make a breakthrough. Somebody asked me, Daddy Freeze, what have you achieved in your life? I stood proudly. Marriage is not part of it. I raised my head. I said I showed Nigerians how to think outside the box with regards to religion. Before me, those who tried didn't succeed. I succeeded. Went against all odds. Questioned conventional wisdom. And everything I've been saying is coming to pass. That's an achievement. I might not have $5 in my account for it. I might not be driving a Ferrari for it. But as far as I'm concerned, I have contributed to humanity, saving the black race from religious extortion, manipulation, and what else comes with mental slavery. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear I'm married, I have children. Anybody can marry and have children. How many women in China can be 2UU? They say before her, none. After her, none. Inside that China, she did do her research. We have even forgotten that she's a doctor. That one is not even important again. When you're talking of Nobel Peace Prize, when you're talking of saving millions of lives, the doctor alone, an achievement. Female doctor achievement. We don't think about contributing to humanity. We think about marrying. How retarded we are. Nigeria is already overpopulated. As far as I'm concerned now, marrying is a choice that not everybody should be encouraged to have. Why? You are 200 million. You were 45 million in 1960. At that time, England was 55 million. Today, England is 65 million. You are 200 million. The only thing you've succeeded in doing between 1960 and now is reproduce. Even rats reproduce. Where are our Nobel laureates? Don't you think someone should have come out of this Nigeria with a cure for COVID and put us on a map? And don't you think that should have been a woman? And then we look at her and say, that's an achievement. And we start to model our lives after that type of achievement. You're inside marriage, they are beating you every day. They tell you marriage is an achievement. In your mind, you know what you are. You are an underachiever. Any woman can lie down, make person climb and make she born pikin. Even goats, they born pikin. But goats no fit win. Look beside you and tell them, goat no fit win Nobel Prize. Can a goat win Nobel Prize? But that's what religion does to you. It lifts what's unimportant and makes it an issue. 2UU has done more than all the religions in the world combined with regards to malaria and healing. The fact that you are not dying of malaria is more 2UU than church. Debate with me with numbers. Let me make a mess out of you this evening. I'm in a good mood, and I'm in a good mood to tear any dingbat apart. Christ died for me not so that I can be stupid. I'm going to read the scriptures to you. Go with me to the book of Matthew chapter 13. I've warned you, stop reading the Queen James Bible written by the person who sold you as slaves. Start reading the NLT and the NIV if you have no access to the scriptures. Matthew chapter 13, and I'm reading from verse 12. To those who listen to my teaching, more understanding would be given, and they will have an abundance of knowledge. But for those who are not listening, even the little understanding they have will be taken away from them. To those who listen, they will have more understanding, and they will have an abundance of knowledge. Can a fool have an abundance of knowledge? No. Can a dingbat have an abundance of knowledge? No. For you to be a Christian, you have to have an abundance of knowledge. If you're a Christian fool, you're worse than a pagan. What you practice as Christianity half the time is paganism anyway. So you're just a pagan fool. Because you're not serving Yahweh, my God. You're serving Mammon and whatever God you're digging out of the sea or out of the ground. That's why you're that stupid. And you're coming to argue with me. Christ said you will have an abundance of knowledge. Abundance means your bank account, your knowledge bank account would be running over. You would have so much knowledge that people will borrow knowledge from you, and then you look at the church and see a conglomeration of fools. They're not Christians. That's not what Christ promised. Already they announced that chloroquine has been approved for testing. People are already poisoning themselves. They are reporting cases, new cases of people poisoning themselves on chloroquine. Stop laughing. It's not funny. The same way they poison themselves on salt over the Ebola. You cannot be a Christian and be stupid. Christianity and stupidity cannot be put in the same WhatsApp group. Unless what you are practicing is not Christianity. Where's the abundance of knowledge? Look at the church. Do you see the abundance of knowledge? I don't. I don't see the abundance of knowledge. I see people who are easily misled. I see lies. I see falsehood. I see manipulation. I see extortion. But I don't see knowledge. Matthew 25 and 29. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they'll have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even the little they have will be taken. I know they've tried to robe this into money and try to say if you've been given little money, nah, fam. Christ was talking about knowledge, even if it seemed that it was a parable about money, what he was talking about. Because when you have, I harvested my crops, I didn't plant and gather the crops, I didn't cultivate, and why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? When Christ was talking about harvest, he was never talking about money. He was talking about souls. Go and read John chapter 4 and have an understanding of the word harvest. Don't let your pastors lead you astray. Christ called the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman who'd gone through 5 husbands and was living with her boyfriend. He called her a harvester of souls who will be well rewarded. Tell me where money got into that equation. Taste buds. Taste buds is laughing. That people are poisoning yourselves on chloroquine. They tell you you're going to be blessed, you're going to have money, and you look around you, where's the money? Where's the money? Let's even forget the money. Where's the sense? Where's the knowledge in today's church? Where's even the love? Y'all just hate each other. You hate first of all, let's start with the Christian Muslims. There's hatred. Then let's even amalgamate all the Christians together. Then you have the Igbo Christians and the Hausa Christians and the Yoruba Christians. The Igbos cannot stand the Hausas, whether they're Christians or not, because of tribalism. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and the person was telling me he's a member of Biafra. I said, oh, until you people cut it out, you are living in your mind as a member of Biafra. Go and print Biafra passports for yourself and use it to get across the country. That's when I know you're a Biafran. It's not by mouth, audio Biafra. Go and print a passport. Put your name on it. Put your picture. And then let me see you enter UK with that Biafran passport. Then I know Biafra exists. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Biafra. That's not the discussion. But my problem is you have Nigeria. Love one another first. If you are going for Biafra, go out of love. Don't let somebody manipulate you. Don't let yourself be used as a pawn in a war that you're not. There are some things I don't like to say and I will not say because I will offend people. Those people that led you to war, they married beautiful women. The ones that died. Don't let anybody lead you to war. And then they will marry beautiful women and then you will die. Use your brain. There's no love in the Nigerian church. There's none. Why can't we love one another? Why must religion and ethnicity be used to separate us and then we call ourselves Christians? They call yourselves Christians, yet from one camp to the other camp, you cannot intermarry. But your geos are chilling. They are chilling together. They hang out, slapping themselves, high five. Yo, what's up? Meanwhile, church members cannot intermarry. Where's the love? Where's the love? I look at the church and I don't see love. Growing up, somebody tried to steal a car during a church service at St. Peter's Anglican Church, Arimo. My father had a hospital next to it. It was a Sunday. We were there, followed our daddy to the hospital. For the first time in my life, I saw thieves being lynched, strictly by the church members. Just coming out of service, and the people that tried to steal their car was killed. And I'm like, what did my mother said, how can you come out of church and preach this and do this? How can you come out of church and then the next thing you are killing somebody who burnt a car, who tried to steal a car? How? Where's the love? I was driving past the big cathedral today in Lekki, not far from my house. And there were I have a picture of it, two little beggars sitting by the side of the fence. And I'm like, look at this big empty cathedral. And look at those poor little beggars. And this is the house of God. And those are the children of God. And the children of God are homeless. And God's house is empty. Oh my God. Nigerians and their homeless God that they have to build house for. So when I talked, I said, make a ninche. Make a build factory. You follow me fight. So they give me strike. No problem. Make you feel the 100,000 seater this Sunday now. We dey here, they wait. That's not godliness. That's not love. That's not Christianity. The biggest churches in the world, the 50,000 auditorium is in Nigeria. The 100,000 is in Nigeria. The 120,000 is being built, and I hear there is now 150,000. Who sent you? Most of the New Testament, New Covenant worship was done in people's houses. When they went to the Jewish synagogue, they didn't go to preach to Christians in the Jewish synagogue. They went to try to convert the Jews. Study your history, read your books. It's not about building stadiums. God doesn't live. Acts chapter 7, verse 48. Let's go read it real quick. Acts chapter 7. Let's read it. I want you to read it to them when they come to meet you. Acts chapter 7, let's start from 45. This is where Stephen was stoned. And this is the message Stephen was giving them. Years later, when Joshua led our ancestors in battle against the nations that God drove out of the land, the tabernacle was taken with them to the new territory, and it stayed there until the time of King David. David found favor with God and asked for the privilege of building a permanent temple for the God of Jacob, but it was Solomon who actually built it. However, the Most High doesn't live in temples made by human hands, as the prophet says. Go with me again to the book of Acts chapter 17 and 24. He is the God who made the world and everything in it. Since he is the Lord of heaven and earth, he doesn't live in man-made temples. I'm coming out to meet you. He doesn't live in man-made temples. Okay, put it here for me then. God doesn't live in that church building. He's supposed to live in your heart, but your heart's closed and you're dumb. You don't think, you're brainwashed. You think God lives in stupid people? Christ said, even the little you have will be taken away from you. For those willing to listen, they'll have an abundance of knowledge. Those not willing to listen, they will even lose the little they have. First Peter. Go with me to the book of First Peter. Chapter 2 and 5. You are the living stones that God is building into his spiritual temple. It's not a physical temple anymore. It is a spiritual temple. What's more, you are his holy priests. Through the mediation of Yahushua, you offer spiritual sacrifices that please God. Through Christ, through the new chief priest of the new, more perfect, more beautiful covenant, you offer spiritual sacrifice that please God. You are the building. You are the church, not 100,000 seater stadium that is going to be empty on Sunday. Wow. Isn't that ironic? The big cathedral behind my house is going to be empty. Do you think God lives in an empty house? But as long as you have life, as long as your heart pumps blood, God lives in you. Unless, of course, you're stupid because He doesn't live in dingbats. I'm sorry. I need to wake you up. First Peter chapter 4 and 17. That's what I want to end with. For it is time for judgment to begin with the family of God. And if it begins with us, what would the outcome be for those who disobey the gospel of God? You gather in your shrines of Mammon, your shrines of European and Roman gods, and you curse, and you ask for your neighbor's head on a platter like the pagans do. You don't show any love. You claim to drive out all the witches and spirits and mermaids, and then Mammon sits pretty, prouding inside your church. A judgment of God is upon his house and upon the liars who made his house a den of thieves. The judgment is upon you all. Y'all better start telling the truth. Uncle Copeland, pay your tithe even when you lose your job. Like, seriously. Uncle Kenneth, how many people did Christ collect tithe from? Even the ones that were employed, let alone the ones that didn't have work. Why didn't Christ gather the 5,000 and collect tithe? Why didn't he? Why did he bother feeding them? This year go rugged. Why didn't tithe God Christ? The scriptures tell us that the disciples said, "These people are hungry. What do we do?" And Christ said, "You go feed them." Let's read it together. Let me end with that. I wanted to end with with First Peter chapter 4 and 17. Instead, let me end with that. Go with me to the book of Matthew chapter 14. I'm ending with this. Or people say, "Daddy Freeze, your message is too harsh." My message has to be harsh. I am the whip that Christ brought into the temple to flog the money changers. The church is the house of God. Why don't you go there this Sunday? House of God, house of God. Where they do online house of God, we still gather. We will not gather. Is it not a shame to them? Are we not going to gather online on Sunday? Hello? All of those ones saying, are we not going to gather? Is anything going to affect our own gathering on Sunday? Is Corona going to stop us from gathering? Meanwhile, they, with their house of God that they built with many millions, the house of God is going to be desolate. Matthew 14 and 13. As soon as Yahushua heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. But the crowd heard where he was headed and followed on foot from many towns. He saw the huge crowd and he stepped from the boat and had compassion on them, and he healed their sick. That evening, the disciples came to him. This is a remote place. It's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they may go to the villages and buy food for themselves. But Yahushua said, that isn't necessary. You feed them. Christ, first of all, healed them for free. And then he commanded his first pastors, he commanded his disciples to go feed them without collecting tithe, without collecting offering, without anybody sowing seeds. And I command the true disciples of Christ today to feed those who have no food. Feed them. Open the church buildings, let them be used as hospitals, isolation centers. Why are you afraid? Because you didn't open it to be a church in the first place. It was a business center, right? Shh, tell me. I won't be angry. If it was a house of God, why are you afraid of opening it up? Why? Some people say that it frees, you'll have hatred. I don't hate any pastors. I'm just telling the truth. They call the churches the house of God, yet they won't gather there this Sunday. They are abusing us that we do online service, yet we will gather this Sunday. Who be fool? Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. God bless you all. Open up your heart and receive the real truth about Yahushua, not the business model they're giving you that has failed them and will continue to fail them. Is it not a mockery that God's house is shut, but the hospitals are open? Really? Was there ever a time during Moses' time that Moses was not in charge? That Moses had to run to his tent and hide and be quarantined? There's nothing wrong in being quarantined. It just shows you that the house of God is not the house of God. Everybody's hiding now. Where are the Jews? We don't even need them in Nigeria. Let them go to Italy. All of them, they should bundle all of them and let them go and be healing people in Italy. And go and be preaching the message and be healing people. Italians need them. Iranians need them. We don't need anybody in Nigeria now. We're okay. Go and heal the Italians. If I talk now, people abuse me. I've said my own. Wake up, Nigeria. God bless you all. God bless you all. God bless you. May the Spirit of Yahweh and may the sacrifice of his son Yahushua that set mankind free, set you free perpetually. May his kingdom come. May his will be done on earth. In Yahushua's name, I ask upon this generation. May the wisdom of Yahweh be upon you. May his healing be upon this land. May his forgiveness for our paganism, for our idolatry, for our prostitution. Ezekiel 23:20. Read it. Maybe I should even read it. Let's read it. I have people's time today. Ohola no holiba. Ezekiel 23 and 20. She lusted after her lovers with genitals as large as donkeys and emissions like those of a horse. And if you read Ezekiel 23, I think 45 or 49, he says, You will be fully repaid for your prostitution, your worship of idols, yet you will suffer the full penalty. Then you will know that I'm the sovereign God. There's a punishment for prostitution. And the prostitution they're not talking about is not what you see on Allen Avenue or Sanusi Fafunwa. This is prostitution with idols. Ezekiel chapter 16, go there with me. Ezekiel 16 and 34. So you are the opposite of other prostitutes. You pay your lovers instead of them paying you. Christ healed for free. The disciples even fed the people for free. Yet you pay for all these things. You pay for this prostitution, this idolatry. Even God had to say that you're worse than other prostitutes. At least those ones get paid. I can't believe you pay. Wake up, Nigeria. Wake up. This is the time to cleanse yourselves from idolatry. Money cannot save you. Tithing cannot save you. The only thing that can save you is the knowledge of God. The book of Hosea says it very clearly. People perish because of lack of knowledge of God. You don't know God. You're just doling out 10% of your salary at the end of the month and you think that's what God's going to bless you with? To you, who did she pay tithes to? I want to ask you. The Chinese government, where they ban church and they ban mosque, are they not coming out of the corona? Italy, that is the headquarters of Rome, the headquarters of Christianity, are they not the worst hit? Wake up, world. God bless you.